Hey, everybody. Welcome to Nerdy for 30s Review Preview for June and July 2023. Tim, I cannot believe we are here already. Not only are we about to preview what we're going to cover in July, we already have an entire June worth of movies to review. It's too much.
We've got so much. I think this was maybe movie-wise one of our better months. This is pretty cool. I think we saw a bunch of fun stuff, a lot of big swings, and I'm excited to talk about it. Make sure they're in the right order on our list. Make sure I see how they stack up with everything else we've watched this year.
Yeah, I like that. So how do you want to do this? Listener, if you've never listened to one of these with us before, what we're going to do is we're going to very, very briefly touch on the movies that we talked about in June, rank them where we think they fit within the other movies we watched this year, before giving you a preview of what we're talking about in July. But Tim, for the things that we talked about in June, do you have any final thoughts you want to get out about any of these movies?
I don't know.
We did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. We did Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. We did Transformers Rise of the Beasts. We did Batman 1989, and then we did The Flash.
I thought overall this was pretty entertaining. There were good things in all of them. I think the caliber of, I want to say the visuals were good, but they weren't necessarily in all of them. But the vibes in Spider-Man and Batman, which are the higher end of what we're ranking, awesome. Great vibe movies. Currently, they're both in our top 6. Vibe not as good in Transformers, but I thought the fights were amazing. And I'm still thinking about Bumblebee showing up at the end. I stand by the fact that it's a banger once Bumblebee shows up. And The Flash, we got Batman. We got more Batman, and I loved every second of that specifically. Yeah. The rest of the movie, not great, and I'll probably skip it in the future. But man, if they make just a Batman cut, we got to make a list of all the just cuts that I'm thinking of. There's one, oh yeah, Transformers, just Transformers. That cut. We need a Flash movie that's just Batman. We need a Lord of the Rings movie that's no hobbits. Like, just like trim the fat on some of these things.
I want us to eventually have a Criterion collection where you can just buy bootleg DVDs of all these cuts from us.
And we just poorly edit them together.
Oh, so shittily. Yeah, one of those is going to be my 2-hour cut of Moon Knight.
It's a 2-hour cut of Moon Knight, and we're just crossfading everything and like using fun sweeps like from PowerPoint presentations just to get to the action. Dude, the 2-hour Moon Knight could be really good.
I think really there's some heat on that. I want that to be our first crowdfunding project, is to just allow me to take 2 weeks off work to do it.
Oh man, if that was a movie, God, so much better. Let's get into the rankings. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, currently number 1, beat out The Last of Us, John Wick 4, Guardians 3, and even Across the Spider-Verse, which is at number 5, which might be a little high for it, honestly. How excited are you about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the first one being number 1?
I'm right there. I'm still with it.
I agree. I think it's the best movie. It's the best thing on this list, and it just is. It's the best. It's the best one. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is number 5, which puts it ahead of Batman 1989, Baahubali 2, Dungeons and Dragons, Fast X, Everything Everywhere. I don't know if it's that much lower, but I'm kind of confused why it's in our top 5. Maybe I don't know what passes it, but saying that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was one of the top 5 movies I saw this year, I just don't. I feel like that can't be true. You know?
I don't know. It was really good. Yeah, you're right, though. The biggest crime that I'm seeing right now is that we have Guardians 3 ranked as number 4 on our list. That is way too high.
That's coming from me. I love that movie. I'm very biased. I will take complete credit for that. Guardians 3 being as high as it is definitely my doing. I definitely liked it better than Across the Spider-Verse. I think Batman 1989 might leapfrog both of those.
Yeah, I think Batman 1989 probably takes the number 4 spot.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I would put both Guardians 3 and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse after Baahubali 2.
Wait, give me a recap again.
All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Number 1 for the year, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
Number 2 for the year, The Last of Us. Number 3 for the year, John Wick 4.
Yep.
Number 4 for the year, I'm thinking Batman 1989.
I agree. I agree. It's better than Guardians, I think, arbitrarily.
And I think number 5 for the year, Baahubali 2. At least give me Baahubali 2 over Across the Spider-Verse.
It's definitely over Across the Spider-Verse. No doubt in my mind. It's definitely above it. I think D&D is where we start to see that gap. So right now, our top 7, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, The Last of Us, John Wick 4, Batman 1989, Guardians 3, Baahubali 2, Spider-Man Across the Universe. I feel better about both of those.
Yeah, I feel better about that for sure. I still, I think it's going to be a sticking point, but I have faith that something in the rest of this year is going to knock Guardians 3 out of that number 5 spot. That's my goal. I need some movie this year to get Guardians 3 out of that top 5.
I think it'll happen, but it's definitely one of my top 5 movies this year. I think regardless, I just had a great time with it. I love those characters, and it's one of the things I enjoyed the most this year. So after Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, number 8, Dungeons and Dragons, then Fast X, Everything Everywhere, Mario, Creed 3, Air, The Woman King, and then Transformers, which is in the weird Woman King area where we respect the idea of Woman King more than I think I respect the actual product.
Yeah, it feels too low, right?
I kind of think Transformers could go like above Creed 3, right below Mario. But I'm also, half the movie is pretty bad. I think half the Transformers movie is not great. But I think I think there's just really, I think in hindsight, there's just a 20-minute chunk that I love more than most of the stuff we've seen. And it's like maybe 20 minutes. Right? Like Bumblebee shows up like right at the end. That next 20 minutes is incredible. And then, like I'm just going to be fast forwarding to the end of this movie. I will never watch this whole Transformers movie again in my life. I guarantee I will never watch the whole thing. I'm going to be fast forwarding so goddamn fast. God, restart. You know what? You know when you like rewatch something and they're like, hey, do you want to start from the beginning? Fuck no. I'll rewind because I'm not going back that far. It's easier to just rewind to the good part and start at the end than it is to go all the way back to the beginning. Really? Watch this guy like navigate his life without a transformer for like 30 minutes? No fucking way. I don't know. What do you think about Transformers? Do you think it's better than Creed 3, which I put in a similar boat? I think Creed 3 is another movie where the highs were high and the lows were, whatever.
Yeah, it's so funny because Creed 3, real range on that movie, immensely high ceiling, very deep basement.
Michael B. Jordan, worst actor of the year in that movie.
Incredible. And both of us are huge Michael B. Jordan fans.
Love him.
The original Creed is one of my all-time favorite movies.
It's great.
I don't know what happened. I think
Creed 2,
the only
fun.
I think the only thing is that he just maybe had too much time spent in the director's chair, and he just maybe like wasn't super good on his lines.
I think directing and acting at the same time, maybe not as easy as some people make it seem. Yeah. Maybe Michael B. Jordan could have done like an indie project before this, but he's at that level where like he wants a little indie project to work out the kinks. Yeah, it's Creed 3. This is him. Creed 3 is just him figuring shit out. And then the last great John Boyega, or not, no, John, what's his face? Jonathan Majors, John Boyega. Jonathan Majors. The last great Jonathan Majors performance.
You saying John Boyega just reminded me of him and the Woman King. Wow, what a performance. That was great. Solidly earns the Woman King its spot. There's no way that we can put Transformers, a movie that is 50% minimum bad, above the Woman King, first of all. Also, it's so funny to me that Creed 3 is such an uneven movie, but it's up there because of the heights. And Air is just so consistent. I think Air is probably going to remain the exact middle of our list.
Yeah. Air is the definition of like a 5 on the 1 to 10 scale. It's just no peaks, no valleys, just straight up. It's a lazy river, dude. That rapid never picks up. It's a level 1 the whole way. You're like, oh, is that a waterfall, dude, coming up? Fuck no. Relax. There are no twists and turns in this thing. It's not even like a natural lazy river. It's like a straight shot. It's just, you can see the end of it from the beginning. You're just like going in a straight line. And then when you're done, you get out and somehow you're back at the beginning. It's, gosh, what an easy thing Air is.
Yeah.
It's the middle.
It's amazing. It is. It's right now ranked at number 13 out of 24.
It is the middle. It's kind of the barometer of like, yeah, everything else is just not as good. And I don't think, if we're looking at it that way, maybe we move Creed 3 below Air, because Transformers should be higher than Creed 3, I think.
You think?
No, I said that and I don't believe that. I don't know. The last 20 minutes of Transformers.
Jesus Christ, dude. Transformers is going to sweep at the Rennies. Our year-end award show this year is going to be big appearances from Rise of the Beasts.
Bumblebee's winning every award. I mean, I think Transformers is better than Creed 3. There, I said it.
I disagree, but I'm willing to use your heat to put it above the Woman King. I would move to Air to number 12 just to keep it at the actual middle of the list.
Yeah.
Then go Air at 12, Creed 3 at 13, Transformers at 14, and Woman King at 15.
Okay. This is kind of working out.
You talking about Transformers being half bad. Transformers Rise of the Beast might be the perfect movie for the two of us, because we like the exact opposite parts of this movie, with the exception of Bumblebee. We both absolutely love Bumblebee, and the rest of it's like, hey, pal, you and me should split a movie sometime. I'll take the parts you don't want, and you'll take the parts I don't want.
Is that true?
Yeah, I love the Anthony Ramos stuff.
You're right. You're right. We'd be a perfect couple, you know? Yeah. I hate pickles. You love pickles. It's probably the opposite, because I love pickles. How do you feel about pickles?
I like pickles. I think they're good.
Okay, so it wouldn't work out, but it would in this specific instance for Transformers. We could split a movie.
Well, the opposite of loving something isn't hating it. It's just being indifferent toward it. So maybe we do have that going with pickles.
I do feel Transformers is strong in the indifference for 80% of it. Mm-hmm. So we've got Across the Spider-Verse, Dungeons and Dragons, Fast X, Everything Everywhere, Mario, Air, Creed 3, Transformers, The Woman King. Now it gets fun. Jury Duty, Cocaine Bear, Baahubali, Megan, The Flash, Evil Dead Rising, Avatar: The Way of Water, Ant-Man 3, Knock on the Cabin.
I could be talked into swapping Knock on the Cabin and Ant-Man 3. The more I think about Ant-Man 3, the more I hate it. I just think about Corey Stoll's fucking face. His goddamn stretched out face. Corey Stoll's face is somehow still the worst CGI I've ever seen after seeing The Flash. I talked a lot of shit on The Flash CGI last week, and then I thought about Corey Stoll's face one more time, and again, it just makes me want to barf.
If I agree, it could be. I think the fact that it's a Marvel movie, I will just end up watching it again at some point. Like it's just the fact that it's a Marvel thing and in the same universe. And we do get Paul Rudd doing some Paul Rudd stuff occasionally. We get Kate Kang, who's pretty good in it, even though he gets his ass kicked by ants. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you get out of that movie. But Knock on the Cabin, I'll never think about Knock on the Cabin again.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thought hasn't even crossed my mind about Knock on the Cabin. Not once until we review this list. And then I think about it for this long and then I forget. It's already slipping out of my mind. I don't think about Knock on the Cabin. It was a bummer. Now that I'm thinking about it, man, that fucking sucked. And you're like, there's going to be a twist. There's going to be a twist. No twist. If you haven't seen Knock on the Cabin, don't bother. Or you know what? Watch the first 10 minutes, then just stop and like you get it. Whatever you think the ending's going to be, that's the ending. There's nothing else happening. It's fine. You know? Ant-Man 3, I don't know. You get Michelle Pfeiffer, that white gold.
You do.
You get, what's his face? The old guy who's like unhinged the whole time.
Yep. Pretty fun. Pretty fun.
It's more charm. I had more fun watching Ant-Man 3 than Knock on the Cabin for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Keep it where it is. I
am cooling on great. Avatar, The Way of the Water, but we're just nitpicking the bottom of the list. And
finally.
I saw it's on like HBO net. Now it's like streaming and I'm like, I don't want to watch it all again. Don't make me like sit through this whole thing. I need a day. And it's like, who has a day? Who has a day? You just got to get like herbed up, sit in the comfiest chair and just close all the blinds, put it on the biggest TV you got and just, you know, wake up tomorrow and go about your business. That's how you need to view Avatar. And who has the time?
Yeah. You know, Avatar, The Way of Water. I think, have you ever seen that thing where people will do screenings of the movie Jaws in a swimming pool?
I would love to do
there
that.
In an inner tube. I think it'd be a ton of fun. I think the ideal way to watch Avatar, The Way of Water is in your bathtub with a TV propped up at the end of it. That way, you know, if you're not careful, at any moment, your TV could fall into the bathtub and you wouldn't have to watch the entire thing.
Thought I was crazy for installing this thing right above the bathtub, but who's laughing now? Somebody watching a better movie, probably. Yeah, I honestly, right now, I'll tell you, my dream, like what I define success as, like if everything goes incredibly well, just, you know, everything works out in my favor in a way that it's so far not projected to.
Sure.
I have a TV I can see from the pool. That's the dream. That's the dream. I would love to be like, oh, it's football Sunday and then get my inner tube and just like float in the pool and drink beers and watch football. Incredible. And Jaws. I'm watching Jaws first, then Avatar, The Way of the Water, and then Waterworld. And then I'm watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because it's just a good movie.
Just super good. I love that, Tim. And honestly, I love a lot of the movies that we have lined up for July. You want to talk through what we got coming up?
Let's talk it.
All right. On Thursday, July 6th, we're going to be back here with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This one, I'm seeing, it feels unreal. I'm seeing this in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I think it might be good enough that I forget Crystal Skull existed. Although I will say I did go back and watch that. And I didn't hate Shia as much this time around as a general casting choice, just because I think his character is supposed to be someone that's posing as this tough guy, but really is a total dweeb. But there's still the scene where he teaches monkeys how to attack the people that he wants them to attack and swings through the forest. And that is just garbage.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Harrison Ford, he's too old for this. You know, it's like the Robert De Niro thing. And what was that movie that Scorsese
the
made?
Irishman. Yeah.
Yeah, where he has to like fight somebody. And so they CGI it, but he still looks like an old man when he's a young man fighting these guys. I feel like it's going to be a lot of that. And it's a lot of CGI of Harrison Ford with a younger face. And I'm interested to see how it goes. Phoebe
Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge, I think, is amazing. She's great. Fleabag was so good. I don't know if I've really seen her in anything else. She's a star. I hope this is like a big thing for her. That's kind of my biggest takeaway from this.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah, Harrison Ford, I think it's going to be no spoilers for Secret Invasion, the series overall, but I will say that Sam Jackson, also too old. There's a shot in the first episode where he raises a gun, and they really did him dirty by not just cutting to him when the gun's already up, because it was a struggle to lift that gun to a 90-degree angle.
Honestly, they're struggling with cuts in general. Whenever a door opens, you see it. Whenever somebody walks into a room, you see it. Whenever someone stands up, you see it. There's a good 5 minutes of this where Sam Jackson is just washing his hands. It's a complete... They're leaving nothing out. They really had to stretch to get to 6 episodes for this. They're like, I can't believe, I can't imagine. I've only seen the first episode. I can't imagine them completing this and going, there's no fat to trim. they're like, this is tight. This is a tight fucking movie. They're like, it can be however long you want. And they're like, cool. We are taking that literally. We will put way less effort into it. And who knows? Fuck them. They're messing with the writer's strike, doing AI stuff. We'll talk about it later.
Best.
Coming up next
is maybe Marvel's best. We're going to talk about Spider-Man 2. This is a quintessential summer blockbuster for me. I remember the summer this came out very well. I had the novelization of the movie. I, of course, had the soundtrack, one of the greatest movie soundtracks of all time. And I'm so excited to revisit this movie. I did watch it before No Way Home came out, but I don't think I can ever watch Spider-Man 2 too many times.
It's been a minute for me. I remember liking it a lot. It seems to be generally considered better than the first one. And I don't know if I ever felt that strongly, to be honest. I think I really liked the first one a lot. And I don't remember the second one doing anything to like one up that for me, but not in a bad way. In like, I really liked the first one. I thought the first one was so cool and so awesome. And at the time, I'd see nothing like it. And Spider-Man 2 was good, and I don't think it passed it for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I need to rewatch it. And there's a bigger difference than I thought.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm very interested to hear where you go with that. It so far surpassed the first one for me. But again, maybe coming back to it, maybe it won't hold that same luster.
Okay, I'll rewatch
Another
both.
one I'm very excited for, having never seen a Mission Impossible movie, is on Thursday, July 20th, we're going to be covering Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. I am doing the same thing I did for the Fast franchise and watching all of them between now and then. Tim, have you been keeping up with the Mission Impossibles as they've come out?
No, I for whatever reason, I don't have that big of an attachment to Mission Impossible, but over time I have watched all of them, and the last few, at least, they were all good. I don't know why I don't have. I think it's because I didn't see them. I saw them as an adult as opposed to like when they first came out.
Yeah.
I don't know why this isn't like my favorite series. Genuinely, all these movies are incredible. The last few, kick ass. Tom Cruise is a star. The stunts are awesome. I don't know why this isn't like in my regular rotation. But this movie's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. It's going to be so cool. I'm pumped for it.
I fully believe. I think it's going to be incredible. I mean, all I want, I'm going to be chasing the high of Top Gun Maverick for the rest of my life, I think.
Yeah.
That's maybe one of the only times that I've walked out of a movie and known like, oh yeah, that's going to be an all-timer. And if Tom Cruise can somehow even come within 10 Rotten Tomatoes points of it, I'll be happy. I just want more spectacle like that in my life. And speaking of spectacle, we are ending July on a huge one. Everybody's talking about the same release date double feature. So we are doing a double feature episode for Barbie and Oppenheimer. It's double length, double the movies. We will be here talking about both.
I'm excited. It'll be good, or it won't. We'll see. 2 at the same time. That's a tag team I want to be a part of.
Yeah. Robert Oppenheimer and Barbie.
I'm ready to be impressed by both of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool on both of them. I feel like Oppenheimer, I'm a little bit worried that Christopher Nolan is moving into just an experimental phase. I know people really love Dunkirk. I think Dunkirk's good. You know, I liked watching it, but it seems like people are really obsessed with Dunkirk, and Tenet was barely legible.
Yes. Tenet is a mess, but this could be great. The last trailer I saw for it, because this was a movie I'm like, I'll watch the trailer. I don't care. Last trailer I saw for it was awesome. It looks great. Honestly, after watching it, I was like, yes, I'm all in. Barbie, I'm going to be face to face with my nemesis, Ryan Gosling, again. I'm talking about waiting to be impressed. We'll see how that old man does in the young, hot Ken role. My hopes are low for him, but Margot Robbie is a gem. So maybe she'll compensate enough for the weight that he's going to bring to this.
Fingers crossed. There's a few jokes in the trailer that don't hit. They feel like pretty low-hanging fruit jokes. I'm hoping that this is an Adventureland situation where they put those jokes in the trailer to bring people in, and then the actual movie has a lot more depth than what we're seeing there. Do you remember Adventureland? They tried to sell it like it was super bad.
Yeah, Adventureland is a boring movie. And
wow,
I think I've watched it a couple times, and every time I don't remember anything from Adventureland. It's whatever to me. And I don't think Barbie will be the same. I mean, Will Ferrell is like a character in Barbie. I don't think they're going to go serious with this. I think it's all bits. I think it's all jokes. I think this is fully on a comedy for like grown-ups. And, you know, that's it. That's what I think.
We'll see. And you'll see us, hopefully, when we are back here for all these pods in July. If you have any gripes with our rankings that we did, or any questions about anything at all, let us know. Shoot us an email, nerdy430@gmail.com. We will read it next month on our next review preview episode. Like I said, we'll be back here next week with Indiana Jones. Until then, stay nerdy, everybody. Bye.
Stay nerdy. Bye, and light the beam.